my name is Abigail Tennant, and I go by Abby. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Walberg, North Carolina, which is a super small town. And I identify as a lesbian, and my gender identity is female, and my pronouns are she and her. Last year when I first came out, I was super uncomfortable with it. And I kind of just would lay low and wouldn't really express myself a lot. But I mean, obviously now, if somebody's staring at me, I'm just going to be like, hey, what are you staring at? Let me live my life. You live yours. I mean, if you don't agree with it, that's great. But I really don't think that the Jackson County community and the residents are very supportive. But the WCU community, I feel is a little different because obviously it's a college town, and a lot more of the people that go to Western are a little bit more liberal and are very much more supportive. I mean, I still have had homophobic encounters. People have made comments to us whenever we're together. Once I came out to my parents, they completely disowned me. I don't speak to them at this point. I was kind of forced to come out, which is something that you never want to happen, but I kind of had no choice. So last year, my girlfriend and I we had been talking. We weren't dating yet or anything, and my parents suspected it, so they confronted me about it, and they were like, hey, are you guys more than just friends or whatever? And I was like, no, we're just really good friends or whatever. And they were like, I think that you're lying. No, I think that you're lying about it. And I was like, okay. And then I just kind of told them, yeah, we've kind of been flirting or talking. But at this point, this was my first experience with a girl. I'd never been with a girl before. So, I mean, I was completely new to it and all. So once I found out about that, they basically literally the first thing my mom told me was, you need to go to CAPS and you need to go to counseling because this isn't right. And I was I just immediately started crying. I was completely devastated because I mean, I knew that they wouldn't react well, but I didn't know it would be like they would think something was wrong with me, So after that, I told them I would stop or whatever, and we would just kind of stop seeing each other or whatever. But obviously I didn't do that, and I just kept hiding it from them. So after that, I hid it from them for about 2 more weeks, but my mom would keep badgering me about it and asking me about it. And then once spring break rolled around, I had to go home for spring break to see my family or whatever. And so once I got home, my parents kept asking me about it. I was like, no, I don't even talk to her. But obviously I was lying. So then they actually did find out again that we had still been talking to each other and everything. And so my parents both threatened to pull me out of school unless I stopped. So I was like, well, I mean, I still want to go to school, So I told them, okay, yeah, I'll stop. And then one day my mom took my phone and started going through all of our messages and stuff, and found, I guess in her words, proof that we were still together or whatever. It was basically trying to take me down. I don't know why. But so then I told them, my mom basically brainwashed me, and she was asking me all these questions, and she was like, you don't like girls, right? That's not natural. This isn't right. And she kept saying it over and over again, and she would stay up with me for 2 hours talking about it and trying to get me to admit that I didn't like girls. And at that point in my life, I was very, very weak. My mom had been controlling me basically my whole life. I lived under her roof. She still paid for everything for me. So I kind of just did what she said at that point. So I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Whatever. I just went along with it to get her to stop talking about it, I think it was the day before we went back to school from spring break. She was like, okay, so we'll go back to school, but you have to stop seeing her. And I was like, okay, great. I get to go back to school. I mean, obviously I kept seeing her, but I was like, yeah, I won't see her anymore. So then I went back to school, and about a week went by. My mom tracked my location. She would randomly call me to make sure I wasn't with her, and she would ask me literally at least 12 times a day. She was like, where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? And she would like make me like FaceTime her and show her where I was and all of this stuff. So then that happened for like a week, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I was like, it was just completely draining and so stressful for me to just like keep lying. So I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna text her and I'm gonna tell her that yes, I'm still seeing this girl and I'm in love with her, and there's nothing you're gonna do about it because you can't change how I feel. So like once I sent her, I distinctly remember this moment. So I like sent her the message, ran to my dorm room and shut the door, and I just like held my phone and I was like, I don't know what to do now, because I knew that like I didn't even know what was gonna happen, honestly.
Yeah.
So like she called me literally like the second she got the message, and I didn't answer because I was freaking out. So then she called me, she kept calling me until I like finally answered, and she just started like screaming at me. She started threatening me and my girlfriend, and she started telling me that she was ashamed of me. And the one thing that she told me that like really really hurt me, she told me, she was like, I don't even want to have the same last name as you. Just stuff that like no mother should ever say to their daughter for any reason. I ended the call with her, and then she told me that she was going to cancel my health insurance. She was going to turn my phone off. She was going to take all of the money from my bank account. She was going to take my car, and she told me that I wasn't allowed at the house anymore. She told me that she wanted everything out of my dorm room that she bought for me, and she said she would be there to pick it all up in 2 days along with my car. And she was like, you have to come home as well. And I was like, well, that's not going to happen. Obviously I like contacted UPD because she was threatening me and stuff, and I was like, something like has to be done, because obviously she has no right to any of my belongings, and I was 19 at the time, so she just assumed she could just force me to go home. But like the police department was like, no, like you're over 18, you don't have to go home.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I like called her and explained that to her on the phone and stuff. And then so that same night, my mom messaged my girlfriend at least 10 times. She was threatening her. She was saying like terrible things to her. She was calling her really really bad names. And then like kind of after that night, I just like shut down and like didn't speak to my parents for like the next 24 hours. But like that was honestly the worst day like ever, and honestly it should have been the best day, because I was able to like finally say like who I was and stuff. And I felt like brave enough to like actually say it. But it was just a really 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 bad day. But like fast forward to like today, I haven't spoken to my parents in I think almost 6 months. And like it honestly feels like so much better, like not having them in my life, not having like the negativity, not having the pressure to like please them and stuff. But like it took me like a really really long time to finally like let go of them and like the relationship with them, because I'm like really hard on myself, and I like kind of blame myself for everything. And like I felt like I was at fault for putting them through all of this, which thinking back about it now, I was like, why did you ever feel that way? Because it kind of sounds silly. But like once I realized like, hey, there's nothing like wrong with me, that like they were basically just brainwashing me this whole time, like I began to like understand that like, hey, I don't need them to be happy. Being a member of the LGBTQ community definitely has helped me grow as a person and like mature a lot, and start to like kind of care less like about what other people think about me. I'm just kind of living for myself and being happy with who I am, and like understanding that there's nothing wrong with me. And like I love who I am, and I wouldn't change a thing about me. And I understand that there's people out there who completely disagree with my entire existence or whatever, but like that doesn't mean that I have to be any less of who I am just to please them, because like it's not important, you know.